we go.
All right, we done stepped up in the world, Kyler.
Nope.
I want to really thank Kyler. He's busy. He's got a lot of things going on the other side, helping us in the field, really put things together for our future. Um, this year, I start my 20th year full time, the only source of income I've had and got. And I'm very proud of this. It's because of integrity, it's because of character, it's about a vision and a dream, and it's about a man that sold me a vision a long time ago. And then with that particular vision, he honored every word he ever said. He has yet to tell me something that's not true. He don't always give me a quick answer. It might take 2 days, 3 days, or a week, but he always gets back with a well thought out answer. That's how you run a multi-billion-dollar global company. And I had the privilege of meeting Kyler the first time over in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We was at a formal dinner right after an event we had, some of our first ones in the early days. And I had and Kyler and I've had the privilege of traveling all through Virginia, training, doing a lot of things. And we've had a lot of fun during the course of the last almost 20 years. So Kyler, I want you to come on and cast the vision for not only how we got to where we are, and the sweat equity and the blood, sweat, and tears that we poured into this all these years to lay the foundation. And now I believe people got it easier than you think you've ever had it, because we have so much foundation. We got everything we need in place to go out and build greatness, because we still the vision that Mark has now, plus Kyler, Cami, Kenzie, Miss Pentecost. The vision is just like, it's almost scary for the things he's got going on at this point. But he's always put us in a position to be free, to be full-time parents, to go out and earn whatever it is that you want to. The only thing I think it limits some of us is us. And so, Kyler, I want you to come on and share that particular vision that we had all from back in the day, but from this point forward.
Well, guys, first of all, thank you for having me. And I just want to share for a moment the first time I ever met Rusty. The first time I met Rusty, Rusty hadn't even met me, because Rusty was on stage sharing about how these products didn't just change his life, they saved his life. And I remember, I was out in Washington, D.C. working at a law firm. I had been a distributor 2 times and failed. And I had yet to sign up again. I was there to cheer on my sister and my dad at conference to see what in the world was going on. And I remember Rusty was one of the stories that day that I cried when I heard it. I mean, when you make grown men cry because of the amount that your life was changed, and the thing that happened, I'll never forget. Like, I left that moment going, I want to live my life in the center of something that is that purposeful. Like, where on earth is this going on? And I don't know where any of you are coming from. I don't know where your jobs are. I don't know where your life is in the middle of your change. But I know that a lot of the ways that people live life is devoid of purpose. And one thing that isn't often in the newspaper is that one of the number 1 ways that people die each year is suicide around the whole country. And they get in with fine print to say, heart attack is the accidental way that people die, but suicide is at the top of the charts in our country. It's because there's no purpose. We've taken God out of everything. We've taken the purpose out of the majority of our worlds. And I walked away like, someone gave Rusty that product, and when he took it, his life has changed forever. He got off his deathbed, and then he stepped out of a career that was also killing him, because you don't get on that deathbed by chance. He stepped out of a career that was paying him, but it was killing him, and he needed to make a life change. And the change he made, that was just as emotional to me as him taking those supplements that saved his life. And I did not sign up that day because I had no belief in my ability to be a distributor successfully. But I left with a seed in my heart, and that seed was, wow, there is a place on earth that makes people feel good to actually step into it, share the things that are there. And it was a few years later that I joined in the business. And I will say, I was a mess that now has a message. Have you ever heard that? There, the woman who coined it is one of the anchors for one of the big, probably NBC or ABC. She's an athletic. She used to be a sports star. She actually went through cancer, and she said, "Let your mess become your message." And so I'm here today to say, I don't care who you are. I don't care where you've been. I don't care what life's thrown you. I don't care what you've accomplished or what you failed at. Even if it's this that you failed at. I failed twice. Imagine joining, going through the process, failing, and then your distributorship goes away, and then doing it again and it goes away. And now you're watching going, oh, I've got this burn out in my heart to do that, but I just don't believe I can. Some of you are here today and you feel like a failure. That's okay. When it comes to It Works, I had to get over myself in some really major ways. And this is the biggest way. I couldn't make the success here about me. When I was saying no based on what I believed I could do, I was missing out on all the ways that I could have been saying yes. Does that resonate with anyone? I was choosing to say no. And now, some of you do not know my story. I joined It Works, and within my first year, I went diamond. And the next year, I built to diamond by myself because I actually stepped foot in the company. I signed 5 distributors, and 2 of those distributors took off, and I wouldn't talk to them because I was so scared of talking to people. And they raced off to diamond, and then all of a sudden my diamond went away, and I thought, well, I actually really liked that money that was coming in every single month from the work I did one time. But you can't just do it one time. This is a life change. And I really feel like I want to get into those things tonight, but I just want you to know, when I stopped considering all of the ways that I wasn't good for this, and I started looking at how good the products were for people. And I started looking at how good the business was for people. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. There's a woman named Lisa Moore who's still in this business. She's been a double diamond for many, many years. She was the second person to join my business. She joined thinking that we were going to eat sandwich wraps at her house that made her lose inches. Eat. Not the wraps you put on your body. She thought we made wraps. Everyone was coming together to eat. And when we got there, we said, no, this goes on the body. And she goes, well, no one's ready for that, but let's see if it works. And it did work. And she did sign up. And I'll tell you what, I have found that if I honor these products for how good they are, that alone gives me confidence. I don't get my confidence from myself. I get my confidence from seeing someone like Rusty, someone like Carissa, someone like Chrissy. I get confidence from seeing people that I'm like, this really blessed them. And then I get to share that blessing. Okay, so some of the things I want to talk about tonight have to do with how do you create a business with just being consistent, showing up each day. In a business, you do have fast growers. And then you've got people who show up every single day. I showed up. Rusty had both. Rusty succeeded, but he showed up. And he's shown up because it's not just important to go up. It's important to stay up. You know what I mean? And And so I'm here to say that, I want to talk about some of the fundamentals that often get missed when there's so many ways that you can sign so many distributors or so many customers. And what I want to talk to you about is what is real versus what is hype. So let me talk about hype. Does anyone know Tina Hatcliffe in this group? So Tina Hatcliffe, I'll never forget. This was back in the early days when I was growing my business. And if someone was on stage, I made a decision. They were going to be my friend, and I was going to pick their brain, and I was going to do what they did, and I was going to see the results that they got. Because in reality, I was told every time you show up, it's the first time someone meets you, and how you choose to show up is actually going to create the response that you get from them. Some of us have a thought for, well, Rusty signs distributors because of who he is. Rusty signs distributors that are strangers because of how he chooses to walk in the room every time he does. And you can choose to start walking into rooms as a new version of yourself starting right now today. And when I say a room, I mean it could be an Instagram story you're walking into, but you get to choose how you're walking into that story. Okay, so what is organic growth? Well, let me just start on the customer level. If I'm talking to a customer, I want to know about them, and I want to know about their needs, and I want to make sure that they get on the products that will meet those needs. Even when they showed up for a wrap and got a result in 45 minutes, in that wrap room, we were asking them questions. What are your weight loss goals? What type of products are you on that help you with energy, stress? We're bringing up different questions. And why? Because we had 5 minutes of them with their shirt halfway tucked up, and they'd share anything you asked them pretty much, because it was just awkward enough. And at the end of it, you'd know they want to lose 10 pounds. They're sick of waking up every single day feeling like they've got no energy. And then you've got others where you'd say, do you have any health problems right now? Well, I've got this, I've got that, I've got this. Okay, you need greens. Now we've got reds. You need greens and reds. You need hydrate. Why do you need hydrate? Do you know, look at the statistics about how many people die of heart attack. And then Google hydration and how it relates to heart attacks. Google hydration and how it relates to energy levels. The majority of Americans are dehydrated. And there are significant problems that show up in people's lives: sickness, illness, tiredness, depression, all based on hydration. That's one product. Greens helps with that. Reds helps with that. Hydrate helps with that. Search alkalinity, and all the issues that come with that one. I'm not here to say start leading with all the nutritionals, but I am here to say that when you've got a customer that's excited about coffee, just like we had a customer excited about a wrap, that's your time to ask them more questions. That's your time. Mark sits on stage and he says, Amazon has half a smile on a box and they drop it at your door and leave, but we stick around for the hug. That's a clue. You got a customer, a person that's excited about being on one of your products. I personally, how do I talk to someone? Gummies, TFX, or coffee. Why? I like the clinicals, and I find that that's not something someone can argue. And usually in a conversation, if they ask me what I do, there's ways to be prepared. That when someone says, if I said, Leah, what do you do for a living? It's polite for Leah to ask me what I do at some point. Not everyone will do it. Probably the people that I don't want on my team. But Leah would. And when Leah asks me, I want to say, I'm glad you asked, because I love helping people get to their ideal weight. And I love seeing people with energy problems or health problems be able to get full relief. It just makes me come alive every single day. How do you do that? Or I could say, I have a network marketing business and I sell people all kinds of products and nutritionals. That probably will not drive anyone to ask me another question. But you get to choose how you show up in conversations, how you show up on your social media, how you show up on in-person experiences, how you show up on a phone call. Every single moment of your day, you get to show up. So when you get customers on the right products, they get real results that mean something to themselves. Have you ever gotten a result from something that made you feel so excited you had to tell people? You literally feel dumb because you can't stop sharing about it. And the people closest to you keep hearing you share about it. And you're like, but I can't stop sharing about it. That 100% is your customers, and it works when you get to know them and you get them on the right products and you check in with them. Why check in with them? Because they might have gotten on a product that's not getting them a result that they can have, and they may need an additional product to start getting results on that one. Real results. And I want you to be able to say to every customer who's excited to try one of your products and become a customer, and I'll just tell you, they wouldn't say yes to 3 months if there wasn't a level of excitement in them. You know, today you made a decision to try this product, and this wasn't a salesy feeling we had. You're actually excited. If you're ever interested in making extra income, you could share products in the same way I just did with you, and you could take on income. So watch your results. See how that goes. I know that everyone gets results on these products, so if you want to try sooner, we could have that conversation today too. I'm always planting the seed. All you have to do is share this great product from the moment you feel it. In fact, when you get your Skinny Brew in the mail, why don't you share on social how you feel for the first 5 days and see what kind of interest that people take on? You know, I think there's small ways that you can get a seed in a customer's mind to not think about a network marketing or think about what might be daunting of having their own business, but think about handing someone a stick of coffee and making a little income from that. In those events, you're going to constantly be turning loyal customers into very loyal customers or into distributors. And some of those loyal customers who just never take the distributor route, they will be your best referrals. They know that you're doing good things because they feel good. So now when you say, do you have anyone in your life that could use extra income, or that's a great leader that could use a change in career? Do you know anyone? If you haven't asked your customers that lately, you should. This is what we call organic growth, because one thing you did leads to 10 other things that you're going to get because of how you did it. So when Rusty says the more that you give, the more that you get, do you see how that works even when it comes to the integrity of how you're even connecting with people and getting them on the products? So now I want to talk about distributors. Tina Hatcliffe, I'll never forget, she said, Kyler, I signed 50 distributors in June. And this was June back, 11, 12 years ago. And she goes, and I go, 50 distributors? I mean, that blew my mind. I didn't know that was possible. And that wasn't on social media. That was her talking to people everywhere she went, opening her mouth, and people were saying, okay, I want to be in business with you. And I'm like, I couldn't even imagine it. And she said, but you know what? I only had one distributor left 6 months later. And that always stuck with me because she was sitting there going, I still want to sign 50, but if I sign 50 and only have one, does that even count as 50? So what I'm here to talk about is where's the real growth versus the hype. And when I say hype, I'm not talking that it works as hype, but if you're not actually changing lives, you're going to have to keep doing the same things over and over again. And that's what we did in corporate America. You show up, you go to work, you make the same hourly rate or the same salary, and then you come home, you're not respected, you're not, you know what I mean? Tell you what, 50 people join your business and 50 people leave. They're not respecting you, and they're not telling people good things about you. Now, that is not to discourage you from signing 50 distributors. But this is me here saying there are ways to change lives. And so as you're signing distributors, be changing lives. Because if you're not, you're going to feel tired. You're going to feel like you're getting nowhere. You're going to feel like I'm doing the same work I did last year. I'm going to get the same result. So how do you change a life? Well, if you're a new distributor, I want you to think about this for yourself. But immediately when someone else joins, you can offer this to them. You need to help people dream. They need to be able to see a different way of life. People are so comfortable inside of uncomfortable situations because they've just been in it too long. And they've been told enough times that that's the best you can have, that that's all that they believe. Starting with, this is like really fun for me, but $500 extra a month times 12 months is $6,000. Now, when someone said, I want to help you make $500 a month and it works, I was like, that sounds doable. Let's do that. But then when I realized that was $6,000 in my bank account I wouldn't have had, that's big. Like, when did you take a vacation that cost $6,000? Because like it's hard to spend $6,000 on a vacation. I mean, there's plenty of places to do it. Don't get me wrong, but you have a lot of wiggle room. You can vacation and put monies into retirement. You have the ability to do things you weren't able to do before, even if it's some extras that you never could do. And so, just helping people feel what that feels like. $6,000 extra a month. Would you save it? Would you pay off debt? What would you do? Helping them dream. The next thing is, this is a total life change. You can't have a total life change if you don't shift things like you're ready to change your life totally. I couldn't get myself into a successful state of mind at It Works without making changes. I personally, and this is not me telling you to quit your job, but me personally, I wasn't at a bad job. I was making $60,000 a year with all my benefits, and that was consistent. And if I stayed there for 10, 20 years, I'd be up to about 100 to 120,000 a year. And I thought, you know what? There's worse places on earth than this job right here. However, when you start seeing that it's possible for people to do more, but also remember that purpose thing. Tell you what, I'd trade $60,000 a year for $30,000 a year just to have purpose every day that I wake up. It gets me real emotional when I think of what I was settling for. And when I think of what we all settle for. And there's so much more for you. But it comes with dreaming, and it comes with a good conversation that, there's going to need to be some life changes. I had this one couple that joined my business, and the day that they showed up to an It Works event and heard about the business was the day that someone said, a year into my It Works business, I realized I needed a bigger change than just a few extra hours to put into my It Works business. And I gave my life to Jesus, and I made a total change in my mindsets. I made a total change in how I was living my life and how I was living free. And there was a couple in the crowd that day, and they heard that and they said, if we're going to do this, we're going to do all of it. And they signed up in It Works. They gave their life to Jesus. They literally changed every part of their life. And within 30 days, they were Emerald. Within 90 days, they were Double Diamond, and they were making a $6,000 check at Double Diamond. They helped her spouse go double diamond, who was also making a $4,000 check. You're talking within a year, they were making a $10,000 a month income. And they were replacing their jobs. That's what power is in making total life changes. I'm going to reiterate. I've seen people just quit their job. Quitting your job doesn't mean you changed your life. You've got to make a life change, and you can do it at your job. I had to get out of mine because I had to get out of my comfort zone. I took a different job. I didn't live off my It Works income. And I just want to say that because that I don't want that to be the message here tonight is quit your job before you got income, because that'll put you in some funny places where you're like feeling a little desperate and you're a little manic in your business, and that's not that good feeling. You want to be coming from an overflow. And so you got to change your focus and help your distributors change their focus. You know, like, is Joel Osteen perfect? I think his doctrines probably aren't everything you need to know biblically, but I need Joel Osteen in my life because I need someone telling me that it is the right thing to do to expect good things every day I wake up. And I need someone to say that about my business, about my marriage, about my friendships, about my future, about myself. I would recommend, even like for me, it was like, I'm going to take a 90-day Joel Osteen every day. I either listen to his Sirius XM channel or I'm reading one of his books and I'm reading one of the pages out of his devotionals and declaring that stuff over myself. But life change, life shift, you got to actually put new things in your mind. You got to develop new habits. What were new habits for me? Putting out goals. I had a rank goal. I had distributor goals. I was going to sign this many distributors and help them do XYZ so that they could sign this many distributors when they joined me. When you help a new distributor sign $100, do you know that 90% of those distributors are with you for the next, I think it's 2 to 3 years. 90% of someone who makes $100 with you. If you knew that, how hard would you work to make sure your new distributor in their first 30 days got $100? I mean, that you have to be obsessed with that. I'm obsessed with meeting my distributor goals, and I'm obsessed with when you sign, this is what we're going to do. And when you do this, you're going to start making money. Because what you're really looking for in organic growth are realities that sell. What is a reality that sells? I just joined that business and I'm already profitable. I just joined that business and I was able to go get that dress I'd been saying no to. Lori Conway was saying, I have nail money. Like, I'm speaking to the females. Of course, I'm not looking to buy a dress. But nail money is like that extra money. Like, what is it that you wanted done to your hair that you said no to? And what is it that you wanted to, like, that's that money. So being able to have those extras, that's a reality that sells. You know, I always wanted to raise up leadership. How do I raise up leadership? I teach a new person to do something that makes them money. And then we tell all their friends how they do the same thing. And then they start telling their friends how to do the same thing. If someone joins and you don't have an action plan for them to succeed or make money, then their distributors that join will not have an action plan or an ability to make money. That's a broken system. Organic growth has a plan. And how do you find your plan? You talk to people who just succeeded. You talk to someone who just made money. It's that simple. You know, in the midst of my It Works journey, I took a 6-month internship. Lord said, lay your business down. I had a huge organization. It doubled while I was away. It doubled. My income when the Lord said, lay it down before my feet. And I was making 13,000 a month when I went into that internship, and I was making 27,000 a month when I came out of it. And I thought, Jesus, I'll do whatever you tell me. And I mean that, not for the money part, but that part too. But you know, why do I say that? Because when I came back, I felt like I haven't been around in 6 months. I don't know how to help someone make money like people are building 6 months into what I was doing. It changes. How do you do that? You have to show up. You have to show up to these Zooms every single week. You got to make friends with the people on these Zooms that are winning. You got to make friends with their distributors who are winning. I was with Cami Dempsey. Cami Dempsey at that point, now it's Cami Pentecost. She was like one of the top. I think Mel and Blair and Rusty, they were all at the top, and Cami was like my mentor. But Cami was not going to do this for me. And me sitting around just taking what Cami had for me wasn't the only thing. I mean, that wasn't enough. You own this. You own the friendships you can make here. One team, one mission. Why is that powerful? Because Cami could go and she could glean from Rusty. And Cami could go and she could glean from anybody in this business that she saw something in them that she knew she needed. And what does organic growth look like? It looks like you helping people dream, you setting their expectations right. You're going to need to make some changes. You're going to need to set your focus. You're going to need new habits. You're going to have to be the one that tells them what those habits are. Or if you're too new to be that person, get them on these calls. And afterwards, have a connecting moment where you look at them in the face and say, what are you changing now that we've heard that? What are you taking away from that? Success leaves clues. I don't leave a conference. I don't leave an event. I don't leave any of those things without grouping up with who I want to see thrive after that moment. And in that moment, my question is, what are you doing with it? Is it going in your ears and it sounded good and you're changing nothing? Or what are you changing? I would also just say, make sure what you're doing and focusing on is duplicatable. It's got to be duplicatable. And for me, steps to success was always my duplication. You're going to join, and we're going to get your customers, and we're going to get your distributors. And here's the actions we're taking to get both. I always said we need a list of 30 names. So whether that's, I mean, I don't know if you guys are social builders. I don't know if you guys are in-person builders or what. I did everything that would bring in new people. And I'll tell you this, your posts or just people you know can all go on a list, and then you star the ones that you want to pursue to join your business as a business partner. Number one reason someone says yes to becoming a business builder with you is because you believed that they would be good at it and you asked them and told them that. That is the number one reason someone will join you. Let me revisit this. Is it because they looked at you and said that you're worthy? I think some of us will sit and trick ourselves into this, like, they'll never say yes to me. They'll never, you know what I mean? Like, you're amazing at business. You need to take a look at this company I just joined because you would be so good at this. Will you join me? That is the number one reason and nothing else. I'm just looking at my notes. I want to challenge every person on this call to redream. Redream. I don't care what the last 12 months has looked like for you. I don't care what the last 10 years of your life has looked like for you. If you're looking at your life today, what do you want? I'm not talking about what have you gotten. You know, you might be someone who signed 3 distributors or 10 distributors, and all of them blamed you for a million problems. And you're like, well, I want to go diamond, Kyler, but when I sign people, they're so mad at me. Great. Then you know what you don't want. You don't want cantankerous distributors that blame you like a victim. You want empowered people who join you and collectively think with you about how to create a successful business. And you will begin casting the vision for what you want today. You know, I knew that I didn't want people to join that did nothing. So I would say, I'm looking for someone to partner with me who will make $500 to $1,000 in their first month. And this is what they need to do. Well, I don't know if I can do all those things. The person that I'm looking for will do these things because they're going to lead a lot of people to do these things. And if they don't, the others won't. So that's what I'm looking for. Oh, I didn't think of it that way. I can do it if it means my business partners will do it. It's amazing what happens there. But I want you to redream, and I want you to commit to growth. Growing your understandings, growing your limits, growing your ability to lead, and becoming the person you admire most in the world. You know, my before is I thought, I'm going to look at what I believe I can do, and that's who I can be. I was very shy. I barely could talk to strangers. I sat on a cubicle at a law firm, and I dreaded people coming around and asking me, "How are you today?" That was like my biggest nightmare. And then fast forward, built myself to ambassador and helped others go ambassador in a network marketing business where I was talking to people every single day and casting a vision of a new way to live and a new way to be healthy. You know, how does that happen? I realized something. I realized that anything someone had said negative to me in my life, anything I had said negative to myself, any negative beliefs the world had about things I was seeing in myself, all of those things were defining who I was and what I was capable of. But I wasn't listening to my heart. What was my heart saying? My heart was saying, I loved how Cami showed up in a room and talked to people like they were powerful and talked to people in ways that got them to make changes in her life. I love that. So anything that tells me I can't be the things I love, that's just self-hatred. That's just insecurity. That's just limiting beliefs. I'm telling you, who are you drawn to? Who do you see and you're like, man, they're the biggest light? It might be Rusty. It might be another leader on this call. It might be someone at corporate that you see on different things. It might be someone that you just saw on an event. Reach out to them. Reach out to that person and tell them, number one, that they shine, because people don't hear it enough. But something else you should do is you should start writing a list of all the things about them that you admire. And understand that when you get done making that list, my mission is going to be to help you understand that you can become all of those things. And anyone that tells you that you can't, sorry, they don't deserve to be around for that moment. It's called a cleansing. Sometimes when you change, there's a cleansing that happens. It's funny because after you fly like a butterfly, they come back. And sometimes they apologize and all kinds of things. But you got to get rid of the things that are telling you who you can and can't be, because you got to help others do the same. And I just love asking this because this was asked to me about, at that time I didn't have kids, Cami had kids. And they said, if they showed up and they said that they wanted to be all of these things, and then you saw as they were told you can't be every single thing on that list, a child, like maybe it's your child, maybe it's that favorite nephew, maybe it's a favorite grandchild, and you just see them deflating. You can't do that. Can't be that. Can't be vocal. No one, people are going to think you're ugly. People are going to think you're dumb. People are going to think you're this. People are going to think you're that. People are going to think you're obnoxious. People know that you're insecure. People know that, like, and that kid just deflates. You're a kid to God. You're God's kid. And I'm telling you, some of the most freeing things that's ever happened to me is knowing that all that trash that had been spoken into me was not for me. And just agreeing with the fact that there's a whole list of things on a piece of paper of people who I admire that I'm going to start saying, even if it's only for 1 minute at a time, I'm going to be that today. I'm going to show up and be that right now. Even if it feels like so awkward and so not me, I'm going to do it. And I became those things and I changed, and you can too. And your mess is going to become your message. So that's my talk. You got to show up. You got to be consistent. You got to grow up, and then you're going to go up. And you got to help others do the same. The more lives you change, the less you make it about you and you make it about things that change lives, the more change you're going to see and the higher you're going to go in this business. And so, thank you, Rusty.
Well, Kyler, that's some pretty deep, heavy stuff. But the message, the test, the testimony. Without it, and every day you have to put yourself to the test to add to the testimony, and every day you're going to go through a mess to create a new message. That's some powerful stuff, Kyler, man. And we just so appreciate that from the bottom of my heart, man. That was much needed for this entire group here, and it'll go out to lots of people when we send the recording out. Here we are in June. We're coming off. I see things that's really picking up like I've not seen in June in a very, very long time. The momentum is coming back. I think it's due to we're coming out of the pandemic, and then people are just they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. They're ready for change, and they're looking for the hope brokers to come up. What is the one thing you could tell them right now to really fire this group up? Let's go from where we are and let's take it to a whole nother level, as Mark says. And we're going to do it. See, one is too small of a number to win. We have to collectively do this together. And from day one, we've always said work up line, down line, sideline, cross line, because that creates solvency and the opportunity for everyone. That creates stability in the company. That gives you the ability in the next 20 years, you can be being full-time parents like Rob and I've been for all these years. And the foundation we laid into our children is pretty epic. So what would be the one tip you could give them, or two tips you could give them right this minute to set? They're already on fire. I'm watching the eyes and a bunch of them. I'm seeing the comments. That creates that resolve tonight. It sets you on fire, that you don't wait till tomorrow. We start right now. What's the one or two things you could tell them?
Well, this is what I would say, and all of you are in different places. You've got to focus on what brings in customers and what brings in distributors. And as you do it, focus on making sure that those lives get changed. Don't obsess with one person, because one person won't make or break your business. Know how you can sign a customer and how you can sign a distributor. What I love, because this business changes over time. I love sitting down with a group and we would just put on a board, what is every way that we could meet someone new today to talk to about the products or the business? How could we do that? And we'd end up with over 100 different things. And then we would say, now let's schedule this out. Without a plan, you're planning to fail. So what I would say is you need to start your plan, and it starts with what puts you in front of people to have conversations about being your customer and your distributor, so that you can just start planning all the ways you're going to begin to connect every day. And they don't always have to be the same, and make sure that there's some on there that you're like, I know when I do this, I get this. Those ones need to be there. And then if you want to experiment, because like you saw Chrissy go viral on TikTok and you want to add that in there, you know what I mean? Like have those. But have some bread and butter ones too, that you're like, every time I do this, I get that. And for me, it was, I'm going to make a list. I'm going to think of everyone I know from high school, every job I've ever had, and everyone I met at every one of those jobs. I want to think about who I know from church and who, I'm going to think about, and I would make a list and I would start calling people on my list. And I think that's me. For you, your time may be spent elsewhere, but you gotta get those things out, and you gotta get them on paper, and then you gotta schedule them in because life's busy. If you have kids, if you've got a job, if you've got church, you know what I mean. Like you got to tell your time where to go, or you're gonna get moved by your time, and so you've got to do that. You've got to plan, and it's got to be the things that make you money. And what makes you money here? Opportunities to talk to more people so that you can share things that are going to change their lives with them. That's the business or the products. That's it. Stay focused on that. And then make sure that you take the notes from tonight, because when you sign a distributor, dream, help them make life changes, and set their focus on something duplicatable that helps them make money so that they can start sharing their story.
Awesome. You want to stop the recording, Carissa?